Hello everyone, my name is Clantis and welcome to the Clan. So without further ado, let's get into this video. Guys, we hit 11,000 subscribers! Yay! And I just made a big mistake. The members of the clan, 11,000 of y'all not subscribers. You're not subscribers. You are the members of the clan. Honorable members of the clan. I apologize for calling you subscribers. You're not subscribers, okay? You are members of the honorable clan. Thank you all so much for subscribing to this channel. Thank you so much for finding us. Thank you so much for contributing in the life of this particular channel. I highly appreciate y'all. So guys, as you already seen, the proof is in the pudding, they say. If you smash the like button, you actually send the YouTube algorithm to go fetch more members of the clan so they can join this family. A fun family that is filled with opinions. I love you guys for that the most. You're opinionated. Listen, guys, the way you guys are so good at this, you won today. You won today. Yeah, the members of the clan won today because we called it. We said the supremacy of the Constitution cannot be overridden by any other. And this judge had no any other choice because he was pinned against the wall by the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, Section 35(5) of the Constitution on people that are detained, accused, etc. and so on. And he absolutely had no any other choice but to rule in the way he ruled this morning. And of course, the administration of justice, in as much as it was put into disrepute by Magistrate Vivian Cronje, which I've got a lot of questions after listening to the cross-examination after the judge had actually made his ruling. So the judge dismissed the admissibility of the audio recording of the alleged confession of accused number 2, that is Bongani Ntanzi. Basically, the court said, I will read what the court said in the judgment. Yes, I'm like Judge Rata and paper. Marayo, why do you start at me like this? Somebody said, EU, Baloy, and Orata and papers. Anyways, let's go on, guys. So this was the judgment, and I was like, I gotta read the judgment because Cronje acted unconstitutionally, and this judgment, I believe it was so scathing against Cronje, so much so that you could actually hear it in her voice while she was being cross-examined. In her mind, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, if I was her, I'll be thinking, oh my goodness, I flaunted the Constitution. I will give you the definitions of the words that the judge used in, I'll tell you what all those means, because I was like, what does that mean? And I went into my dictionary. I always look things up. And one of the reasons why I don't like using bombastic words in any of my conversation is because I want to be understood as to what I am saying. I will never use a bombastic word out of the blue and then I will leave you thinking like, did it just offend me or it means something else? I do not like that feeling at all. Not that I don't understand words. I do understand words, but I was also taught when you hear a word that you don't remember or you never heard of it before, you look it up. Look it up what it means, and I've got 2 words that I have never heard before. And I was like, let's go down and check it in the rabbit hole. I do know what flaunting means, but the other ones, I was like, I have no idea. So I was saying to you guys that this judgment by Judge Rata was scathing on this particular magistrate, Cronje. And Cronje, I think she was thinking, oh my goodness, here goes my career flashing right before my eyes. Because as a magistrate for this long, of course you got other ambitions, like maybe an ambition to become a senior magistrate that takes care of the region that she's in, like Du Plessis, for example. If not, maybe she was planning that, okay, in the future, I would like to be appointed an acting judge in the High Court or in a special court, you know, maybe like a regional court or something like that. Or maybe she was even thinking even bigger, like becoming the deputy NDPP or even the NDPP herself. Or even worse, become a constitutional court justice. All those things, when you are a lawyer and an advocate and then a magistrate, then of course you want to climb the legal ladder or the legal fraternity to the epic court of the land, or at least the second epic court in the land, which is the Supreme Court of Appeal of South Africa. So all of that was flashing before her eyes when this judge was scathing on the mistake or the omission or whatever it was that made her not to do what she did. To me, it sounds like this is her habit. This is a habit, and Advocate Mngomezulu was basically laying it before her like, this is what you do, ma'am. This is what you do. And then I started thinking about her evidence in chief, where she was asked how many times has she presided over confessions. And she said she would not give the exact number, but she would say more than 50. And in my mind, you're telling me there are probably 50 people that are rotting in prison because she did not, obey the constitution of the constitutional rights of those 50 people by not informing them when she is tape recording them? I was like, there are a lot of reviews that may come after this on this particular magistrate. And I think she knows that. And that is why she was irritable and hostile towards Advocate Mngomezulu. And I thought at some point, Advocate Mngomezulu, why don't you just tell the court that this witness before you is being hostile? She's not answering questions. If she is answering questions, she's going the other direction. Of course, she's a magistrate, so she knows the tricks and the tactics of how to derail you. But we have Mngomezulu, an advocate that is like, really? For real? We're gonna do this? So you're like, boyala, this is what I'm asking you. You are going elsewhere and I'm still here. Let's deal with this before we get there. And she would get so irritated thinking, oh my goodness, I could not believe a whole magistrate really behaved like a witness. The witnesses that you and I have been witnessing in this case. I was like, what? Come on, magistrate, be a magistrate. And I also like the fact that Advocate Mngomezulu tried to protect her from referring to her as magistrate. I did see the judge jumping a little bit, but she is a magistrate. And then Advocate Mngomezulu says, I'm protecting her as a magistrate, hence I'm going to call her a witness. And somebody asked me about that, and I said, listen, as a magistrate, if Advocate Mngomezulu refers to her as a magistrate, this could actually bite her later on in life, maybe when she wants to be appointed as a judge. And then you're going to come before Julius Malema, who's going to bring this very moment where you, as a magistrate, you flaunted the constitutional right of a suspect. Why should you then be appointed as a judge who is one of the custodians, if not having inherent jurisdiction of constitutionality in some constitutional cases? So I was like, I get what Mngomezulu is trying to do with this witness. Hence, he wanted to refer to her as a witness, not as magistrate. Anyways, guys, this is what the judgment said that made these clan members right here, the self-appointed experts, to win today. Yes, I know Ntanzi won, but we want justice for Senzo Meyiwa. And then we want the 6 or 7 people that were with Senzo Meyiwa on the 26th of October, 2014, when he was killed. One of them pulled the trigger, one of them killed Senzo Meyiwa, and one of them is on the run. And 5 innocent people, yes, 5 innocent people could actually find themselves rotting in jail for a crime they did not commit, especially accused number 2. So let's see what the judgment said. This is what Judge Ratamukwatling says. If this court allowed such an egregious, I was like, what does that mean? But I was like, okay, we'll see. Flaunting and flagrant. I'm like, what? Flagrant? Flouting of accused number 2's constitutional rights. In terms of section 35.5, it would not be in the interest of justice to do so, because accused number 2 would then be continuously subjected to an unfair trial when we know that the Constitution engages us and enjoins us to prevent such exigency. And also, in the view, this court that would bring the administration of justice into disrepute. Consequently, this court rules that the audio recording should not form part of these proceedings. It is inadmissible. I was like, there we go. There we go. And then in my mind, I'm like, Magistrate Cronje, you just put the entire administration of justice into disrepute. And now that she's being cross-examined, in my mind, I'm like, why should I believe her? Honestly speaking, why should any South African, right in their mind, believe anything that she is going to say after this scathing ruling by Judge Mokgoatleng? Because everything that she started saying, whatever answers that she was trying to evade, I'm not surprised you're evading that question. Why, ma'am? Why? Because you are the flounder of the Constitution. You are the flounder of South African people's constitutional rights. And then in my mind, I was like, maybe I should forgive her a little bit, because this lady, even though it's after how many years later, almost 30 years later, because I was thinking, okay, she went to law school during the apartheid days. She probably also served as a candidate attorney during the this pre-1994. And then she was appointed right after this very constitution was enacted into law. Meaning now it became the supreme law of the land. Probably she has an attitude, like a negative attitude towards our constitution, particularly the fundamental rights that South Africans enjoy in the constitution. Hence she did what she did. And my question is, why should I believe her now? Everything that she has said in the court under cross-examination, how do I believe that is the truth when she disregards the constitution? So like I said, guys, I wanted to know what these words meant. And then I did go down the rabbit hole, and the word egregious means outstandingly bad, shocking. She outstandingly, badly, and shockingly disregarded the constitutional rights of Ntanzi. Then I looked at the word in what do you call this? Flagrant. Is it flagrant or in flagrant? It means immoral, offensive. So this woman immorally and unconstitutionally and outstandingly bad and shockingly disregarded the constitutional right of accused number 2. And the word flaunting basically means openly disregard or openly disobedient to the law. She openly disregarded the constitutional rights of accused number 2, that is Bongani Ntanzi. After hearing these words, tell me why should we believe any word that she says? Which kind of like brings me back to Baloyi. African Baloyi, you do not have a case, period. After you lost this morning, I would have thought in my head that, now, if we continue with cross-examination with this huge loss on your table, should you start thinking about making arrest of the 7 or 6 people that were with Senzo Meyiwa on the 26th of October 2014? Just asking. And then should you start thinking about withdrawing this case against the 5-man stand accused of killing Senzo Meyiwa? After hearing under cross-examination what Advocate Mngome Zulu did to this witness who cracked, not only did she cracked under cross-examination of Advocate Mngome Zulu, she was finished because so many discrepancies that were pointed out at her, and I didn't know that this performer came with a guideline, and then one of these 2 documents, one is statutory and the other one is just a mere guideline. And guess what Cronje did? She used the guideline instead of the statutory form to take down Ntanzi's so-called confession. Like I said, it was quite interesting to witness an entire magistrate crumbling under cross-examination, and to a point where she almost lost her cool. I think at some point she did lose her cool. You know, I was like, wow, a whole magistrate. I would have thought that as a magistrate, you preside over these sort of matters, of course, at the magisterial level, where lawyers, they push the button. And then I'm telling you, I don't know. Okay, I'm not quite sure how YouTube is gonna feel about the word I'm about to use. You know, when you're doing a traditional umsebenzi, we put down a cow, right? You know, when you put down a cow, I'm just improvising here. When you put down a cow, and when after it has been, it tries to, fight, and then Ngome Zulu, and then what do you do when you do that? You press down that cow to ensure that it does not move, because one move of that cow, if its leg escapes, all of y'all surrounding it after, it will kick the living daylight out of you. And so you have to hold it down. And African Ngome Zulu was holding down Cronje like a cow that was fighting for dear life. Every time she tried to, he was like, I loved watching African Ngome Zulu in action. I was like, you know what? I had a good feeling about you. I loved the action that was in court. And what I also loved the most, the judge being a judge. Judge, please continue doing what you're doing. This week alone, you've been behaving like a judge. I don't know if you watch this channel, but if you do, Judge, thank you. I'm impressed with you so far. I'm impressed. I don't know what was wrong with you prior to this. Now you are doing what a judge is supposed to do, in my opinion. Thank you so much for that, because you made listening and following this case so educative. Not only was it educating, but I felt proud as a South African citizen that this country upholds the Constitution of the Republic, irrespective of who on earth you think you are. The Constitution of this country ought to be respected, and you did exactly that, Mr. Mkhotleng. I'm very, very grateful for that. Thank you so much. I know that this channel is very hard on you, and deservedly so. And what I also found very interesting under cross-examination was about this Mjiako person. She says she took the word of accused number 2 that Mjiako was or is his legal representative. And yet, accused number 2 says, I don't even know who on earth he is. Just like we said, guys, you remember when we heard the name Mjiako, that what kind of a lawyer will hand over their client to the lion's den? Remember that video? That I said, something ain't right about this Mjiako person. There is nothing that is right about this lawyer. Something fishy about him. And then here we are today. I think I even said that I do not think that accused number 2 will say, I know who this Mjiako person is. And then he says, or he stated to Cronje that I don't have legal representation, but which kind of like also made me think that maybe Cronje is correct to say that she was told that Mr. Mjiako is an attorney that representing the suspect at the time. Because why? The interpreter. Now, which kind of like made me ask a question about Bongani Ntanzi's level of education. How far did he go with school? Because if he left early in his schooling life, I'm kind of like thinking as well and doing my calculations that in 2014, he was still at school, probably high schoolish or late primary schoolish or something like that. Where did he drop out? If he did drop out, does he understand English? Does he understand Afrikaans? And so is it possible that the reason why Cronje stands on her grounds about what Ntanzi told her that Mr. Mjiako is his legal representative, is it possible that the interpreter, knowing that Ntanzi does not understand probably English, maybe because he knew or she knew that his level of education is nothing to go by, and so Ntanzi would tell the interpreter in isiZulu what he was saying about what his name, the attorney, probably there was pointing going on, and then the interpreter interpreted back to Cronje in English or Afrikaans and said, yes, he says this is his lawyer. When in fact he said, I don't even know who this man is. How do we know that? How do we know? That's the question I'm asking, because Ntanzi is adamant that he does not know who this Mjiako person, and I believe Ntanzi. I do believe in Ntanzi, because it makes no sense to me still that an entire lawyer would hand over their client to the lion's den. I do not believe that Ntanzi knew whom Jiyako is. He didn't. And it was not enough for me to hear the response from Cronje saying he's lying. Of course, like I said, if the interpreter interpreted back to her and said, yes, this is Jiyako, his legal, representative, when Ntanzi said, no, I don't know who he is, of course she's going to say under oath in this court that he is lying. No. Sometimes I wish that tape was admitted, but at the same time, I'm thinking, the constitution of the country remains supreme. There is no way we can have that tape heard in court. So let it rest, let it lie, let it die. Like I said to you guys earlier, that I did not know that the proforma came with guidelines, and then one is actually statutory and the other one is just a mere document. And then in my mind, I was like, okay, I know what the word statutory means, but for the benefit of the clan, let's read what statutory mean so that you can understand why Advocate Mngomezulu was going at the magistrate regarding the proforma as well as the guideline, as well as where the signature and initials lie when he was doing the final leg of his cross-examination of the magistrate, which I felt that was so interesting, you guys. I love how he actually said something, withdrew, but then because he was registering it on record and also planting a doubt in the mind of the judge that Miss Cronje is telling the truth or is lying. And then he was saying she's lying. She's lying. But of course, Judge Mokgoatleng did what Judge Mokgoatleng does best. He wants to make sure that the state wins something out of today's proceedings. And that is why he was questioning Advocate Mngomezulu to a point where I felt he was now coaching the witness, so that if this is what Advocate Mngomezulu is saying, then the magistrate must have it on record that this is what she's saying and must also have it. Okay guys, I ran out of space, but now my chain of thought is kind of like disturbed and I said so many things only to realize that actually my camera long time had actually cut off. So I'm going to try and retrieve the things that I said to oblivion. And I was talking about the proforma, it having a guideline, and then which one is more heavier than the other, because one is a statutory form and the other one is just a mere guideline. And then in my mind I was like, what is the word statutory mean? Of course I know what the word statutory mean, but for the benefit of the clan, I went down the rabbit hole once again and I checked the word statutory, and this is what it says. It says statutory means required by law or permitted by law or enacted like an act of parliament, right? So, of course, you and I already know where this is headed, considering that Cronje admitted in court that she merely followed the guideline, not the statutory form. So, meaning that as a judge yourself, are you going to admit this confession or the alleged confession of Ntanzi, or are you going to dismiss it? Considering that the proforma is not the one where the confession is written on, but on a mere guideline form. Where are you going to go with this one? And I can tell you right now that this case, the trial within a trial, especially for accused number 2, I feel like accused number 2 is the one that is going to walk out first from this particular case. He will be the first one to be dismissed, or not dismissed, or acquitted. Let me put it that way. I think he will be the first one to be acquitted after this process. That is if Baloyi is not going to keep holding on to this dry bone like a township dog. So let's see where it all going to go. Like I said, one is a statutory form and the other one is just a mere guideline. So as a logical thinking person, now you know as a judge what you would do. You would go with the statutory rather than the mere guideline. So that is me. That's what I think. I would go with the statutory because it is the requirement of the law, not by your own sucking your own thumb and saying, I'm going to take this one. This is going to be legitimate. And which again, I'm going to ask this question. This particular magistrate, whenever he presides over confessions, this is habitual from where I'm sitting, that this woman does not necessarily follow the law to the T when it comes to confessions. She does her own things. And then when it comes to signatures and initials, I thought signature plays a major role. But no, it turns out that not necessarily a requirement. But I was like, okay, it's cool, whatever. We'll see when Advocate Mngome Zulu goes and does his arguments, because this is where I think Advocate Baloyi's case has crumbled. Like I said, Advocate Baloyi doesn't have a case. Advocate Baloyi's case is not only 6 feet under now. After today, it has gone to hell. That is where this case is. And it's about time that Advocate Baloyi started thinking, not even thinking. He needs to write a warrant of arrest for the 6 people that were with Senzo Meyiwa on the 26th of October 2014. Because this case is not going to go his way. That much I can tell you. And I can tell you that Ntanzi will be one of the first to walk free from the killing of Senzo Meyiwa allegations. And then, of course, accused number 1 will follow. And then, of course, accused number 3, number 4, and number 5 will follow. To actually save himself this embarrassment, acquit these people and go get the right people. Sometimes I feel like Senzo Meyiwa himself is fighting to get the person that killed him and took his life early to the stand and held accountable. Not these 5 people that stand before this court. I am telling you, I feel it in my soul, this is exactly what is happening. Senzo himself is fighting for justice. And the other thing that I am finding extremely difficult in believing Cronje is the fact that, okay, let's have a scenario here. How far did Ntanzi get with his education? I think he did say he left school at a very lower level. I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he said he left school at a lower level. And since he left school at a lower level, and then we also heard evidence that was actually under cross-examination of Cronje, that where he was signing with his thumb. And then I think there was an X or something. We know in South Africa that if you are uneducated and you cannot write, usually when you actually have to sign a document, a government document, is either your thumbprint or you put an X or something like that. I cannot remember if that's what you do, but your thumbprint is more important, right? So I'm assuming that if the other confession or alleged confession had his thumbprint on, and then the second one he has signed, then in my mind, I was thinking about room 2. I took my mind back to room 2. Now, you and I have a suspicion that this case is bogus against the 5 people. And then the person that's leading this bogus case is the investigator by the name of Gininda. Oh, this is the only person that we've heard thus far being mentioned over and over and over by witnesses being Gininda. I'm not saying it's him that has done this, but I'm just assuming that suppose it is Gininda who went to the interpreter and said, listen, this is what you are going to do. The suspect does not understand English. He does not speak English. The lady that we are going to with the suspect to write a confession does not understand Zulu. When you understand both English and what you call isiZulu, and then whatever the suspect tells you to interpret to the person you are going to, you're going to misinterpret it. For example, Cronje was adamant that accused number 2 came with a legal representative by the name of Mjiako. Is it possible that the first time that suspect, which is Ntanzi, saw this man that was with him in the room together with everybody that was in the room and said, I do not know who the man is. And then the interpreter told Cronje that actually that is the legal representative. When Cronje asked him, you have a right to a legal representative, do you have a lawyer? And he, what's her name? Cronje says, he said yes, he has a lawyer through the interpreter. Is it possible that the interpreter lied to Cronje and said this is what the suspect had said, that yes, that man is his legal representative? So it's, for me, without Mjiako on the stand and cross-examined in this trial within a trial, I do not believe Cronje at all. I don't believe anything that Cronje says or she said under cross-examination today. There are so many other discrepancies that I was listening to her about. One of the things that really shocked me is what she said here in her own evidence in chief, when she said when she was asked by Du Plessis to preside over a confession or alleged confession, she went to room 2, or she was allocated room 2. As she was going to room 2, she saw a group of police officers heavily armed. Amongst those police officers, there were also, what do you call these people, Metro Police. And then when she asked for a list of all the police officers that were there, they split. Basically, they did not do that. They did not give her this. And then one of the officers by Mulareng or some little ring or something around that line said he felt intimidated by the magistrate. But let's leave that one. Let's go into room 2. Did she say in her evidence in chief that inside room 2, it was her, it was the suspect, it was the interpreter, it was the so-called legal representative of Ntanzi, and the 5th person? I remember in the SABC chat room or chat live chat, people said that 5th person is Gininda. Furthermore, she said there were also 2 officers that were stationed outside of room 2. And this is confirmed by Ntanzi in court today when she instructed Mngome Zulu that there were 2 officers outside, which Cronje adamantly dismissed and denies. And she even went as far as to say it's strange that Ntanzi or accused number 2 would say something like that because the door was locked. How then does she change her own evidence in chief and say, no, Ntanzi is lying. He could not see that there were 2 officers that were standing outside, yet she's the one who told the court. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Maybe I was hallucinating these things, because I even said in one of my videos that if I was the defense attorneys or the defense lawyers, I would pose these 2 questions to Cronje. The first question would have been the people inside with her. That is herself, that is the interpreter, that is Mjiako, and the 5th person. Okay, I see Ntanzi. Did she collect the appointment letters or appointment documents to confirm that she is actually with the right people in the confession session? Secondly, I would have asked her that with all these people present inside and outside, wouldn't that amount or be tantamount to intimidation? And therefore, the freely and voluntary confession would actually not be credible. That is what I said in my video, or at least along those lines. So now, why is she denying that there were those people standing outside? Why is she denying? I could not understand that for me. I could not understand it. So it was not enough for me for Cronje to tell the court adamantly that Ntanzi is lying when he said he did not have legal representation. Again, is there a deal between the interpreter and that 5th person, which we suspect was Gininda? So he was misinterpreting to Cronje, who was unaware that she's actually being told lies. And of course, if she's told lies, she's going to come to the court and say, no, it is the suspect or the accused that is lying. So that's why I feel like the defense need to go and check the hindsight of the court to check if Miss Cronje did not say those words in her evidence in chief. I heard it. I'm sure many of us heard it. And then I'm not quite sure why she denied it. So at the end of the day, guys, from what I was witnessing in court today, it does not look, and I think it confirms to me that Advocate Baloyi does not have a case. Advocate Baloyi needs to relent. Go get the right people that killed Senzo Meyiwa. 6 people were with Senzo Meyiwa in the Khumalo house on the 26th of October 2014. One of them killed Senzo Meyiwa. One of them killed Senzo Meyiwa. Issue a warrant of arrest, get them to court, and one of them will come out to say, I am the one who's guilty in killing Senzo Meyiwa. What you are doing right now, Mr. Baloyi, is called a witch hunt. You want to pin something that other people cannot be held accountable for. And then I still believe that Senzo Meyiwa is fighting you. Senzo Meyiwa is fighting you. He's saying, no, you are wrong, Baloyi. You go get those people. One of them killed me. One of them took my life early. So let's stop playing this charade of trying to get the public to buy into the story that the 5 people that stand before this court are the ones that killed Senzo Meyiwa, when they did not. That's my opinion. They did not. You got the wrong people and in the dock. Get the right one. 6 of them. 6 of them. One of them will talk. Nobody wants to go to prison for somebody else. Nobody. Same goes with the lawsuit. I will never be sued because of somebody else. My family's money goes, no, I'll tell the truth. I'll say, listen, here's the truth. Here it is. So since Cronje is a flouter of the Constitution, I'm sorry, I do not believe anything and everything she said under cross-examination today. And I love the fact that Advocate Mngomezulu was pinning her down until she cracked. At the end, it turned out that indeed, accused number 2 did not sign a confession. He didn't. So she herself, Cronje, said there is no signature on this document. She tried, but her level best to try and squeeze it, but it was not. Even the judge himself at some point tried to assist her, because I still think this judge wants the state to take this one. I still think so. He did great today. Judge, you did great today. You do not interject when it's unnecessary. With your interjections today, I felt, yeah, indeed, the judge should have interjected there. And I like that. Can you keep it up like that? Don't take sides. Don't take sides. And I also like that in your ruling or in your judgment, you told Baloyi on 2 occasions where you disagreed with him, because we all disagreed with Baloyi when he misquoted a piece of law. So there we go. I was quite impressed today. I must say, I kept saying, Ngomezulu. And then every time he spoke, I was like, Ngomezulu, because he was just, he was beautiful to watch. He was so interesting to watch. I learned so many things. I learned so many ways of questioning things. I enjoyed it. I truly did. Even Advocate Baloyi himself, he stood up probably twice, where Advocate Mngomezulu accused Cronje, which I felt that indeed Mngomezulu was on the money there, because she was being emotional. Imagine a whole Baloyi standing up on a frivolous point like emotions, that he's accusing the witness of being emotional when in fact she was being emotional. And I love the fact that the Advocate Mngomezulu explained it, basically broken down into a 3rd grade level to Baloyi. I was like, Baloyi. That's what I said. I was like, Baloyi was also pinned down. I felt that's exactly what was happening with Cronje. Every time she tried to outmaneuver the Advocate Mngomezulu pinned her down. Every time she tried, she was like, And then she cracked under pressure of Mngomezulu. He was so strategic. Again, I would say beautiful to watch. Anyways, guys, those are my thoughts about what transpired today in the North Gauteng High Court in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial. I'm so sorry, guys. I lost a lot of my footage because I ran out of space. Actually, it wasn't footage. I kept talking when the camera cut a long time ago, so I had great point and I was flowing. Other than that, guys, this is as much as I could retrieve from my thoughts that I had earlier. The joys of being a YouTuber, guys. The joys of being a YouTuber. Anyways, guys, if you liked the video, give it a like. If you didn't like the video, give it a like. Anyways, do subscribe to my YouTube channel and don't forget to click the bell notification so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody that's super thanking the channel and supporting it financially. I highly appreciate you guys so much. Do leave me a comment down below and let me know, what did you think about what transpired at the North Gauteng High Court today? What do you think about Cronje? Because I think I'm changing my mind a little bit about her. She just does not care. That's it, period. And also, guys, do like other YouTubers' videos and also subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time with a new video. Goodbye.